What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the KO Breakdown. I'm your host, the fight analyst, Garrett Kerman. With me, as always, is my man, Joe Danger himself, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
Oh, just checking out this new Howler Head hoodie merch that Mr. Dana White sent me.
Nice.
No big deal. I was not expecting this in my inbox, but apparently I'm, big dog on campus here, feeling good. My wife's trying to steal it already, but it was cold this morning. I will be using it later today.
Oh, it's nice and cold there. Well, it's nice and windy and rainy here in South Florida. Going through this little bit of hurricane here.
How are you?
It's a little windy. Let's put it that way.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's every time I get like news about the weather in Florida, I'm like so thankful that I'm not there.
Oh, thanks.
Well, anytime that it would rain, my parents would like, "Are you alive?" And I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry, I will get it in 2 days." Like, because it's literally just either moving left or right. But yeah, you're a little further south than I was, which is where the magic happens. But
that's true.
Tallahassee was cool, but I mean, Atlanta was cooler. Houston is even cooler.
That is true. So you landed at a great spot there.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love South Florida, and yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm glad you're safe.
I don't love South Florida, but here we are. But anyways, yes, weather is fine. We're good here in South Florida. Unfortunately, up the coast, not doing so well. So hopes and prayers for all those fine folks up in central to northern Florida. But here we are. We're back. Well, week hiatus. We just had 7 days off, but
Dude,
we're
it felt
back.
good too. It felt good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, sometimes we need it, and we have 1 week on and 1 week off. We only have 2 fights this month, surprisingly. Or no, actually, I think we have 3 fights this week. This month. We have 3 fights because we have the first, I think, and then 2 weeks we have another fight, and then we have the big fight at the end of the month that I'm really looking forward to with Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. That's gonna be a banger of a fight card. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, someone posted on Facebook, and they're like, "Are there any big fights coming up?" And I'm like, "There's big fights every week, Daddy." And
yeah,
they go,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, any like real ones? And I'm like, "Well, they're technically all real ones."
Technically. Yeah. What's up, Forrest? Appreciate you joining us. And I guess it's happy birthday to Jesse as always. Every single week it's Jesse's birthday, apparently, to Forrest Daniels.
Yep, all good. What's up, dude?
But yes, we're here. UFC Vegas 61, I believe, on tap. Headlined by Mackenzie Dern and Xiaonan Yan in the Straweight division. 2 title contenders looking to make the next step in their career and move on and hopefully get a title shot. We'll see there.
Just let them fight Bo Nickel. Both of them put Bo Nickel in the middle. See who wins.
Man, Bo Nickel is a different beast. If you did not see his Contender Series fight, please go and rewatch that. That was just a thing of beauty. You're talking about a 3-time All-American champion goes out there and absolutely dismantles an 8-fight MMA pro veteran.
He's not bad. He's not bad. We talked about it in the breakdown. The guy Beard is not a bad boy.
No, he's not.
He is a good fighter, and that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, you've never seen a D1 All-American go from mount to rolling into a triangle as easily as he did. He looked like a black belt out there. It was just crazy to watch that that unfold like that.
Yeah. Yep. Good times were had. It is available on UFC's YouTube channel. Go check it out right now. Well, after this. After this.
Yeah, not right now. You're staying with us here. We're talking about some fights, and we're putting some money in your pockets, and let's get down to it. All right, our first fight up is in the bantamweight division between Randy Costa and Guido Canetti. Right now, the line as -285 on the Costa. The comeback on Canetti +240. Who do you got?
Yeah, this one, Randy Costa finally bounces back. I like Guido, but I did not realize this. He is 42 years old, and Costa has some heavy hands. Height, reach, youth, they aren't doing Guido any favors Costa wins via TKO. Also want to give a fan of the show, Tony Kelly, a shout out, as he does lurk in the chat from time to time. Kelly is no longer in the UFC, but he did deliver Costa his most recent loss, which makes me think if Guido can get it together and somehow find Costa's chin, Costa might be packing as well.
I don't know, man. I don't expect Castaneda to really be able to take, the power of Costa. I know, Tony Kelly did, but different fighters, like you said, Guido Castaneda, 42 years old. I think Costa's just only getting better. I know he's had some slip ups recently, but he's training with high level athletes down here in Southern Florida. And I just think we're going to see the best out of him in this fight against Castaneda. Caneda's there to be hit. And we have the line set at minus 175 on the under 1.5 rounds. You have Randy Costa to win inside the distance in round 1 at minus 125. The bookmakers are expecting Costa to win early. The way you should play this is probably Randy Costa in round 1. And then if it gets out of round 1, you can hedge on yourself on Guido Castaneda after round 1, because I'm pretty sure Costa has lost every single fight that's left round 1. So I'm liking Costa to win this fight, probably inside round 1. He's got the power. He's got the speed advantage. He's got the youth advantage, height and reach as well. So
height, reach, youth. That's all.
Yeah, he's literally got every physical tool to get it done. I like Randy Costa getting it done early, and I like the under 1.5 rounds as well.
Yeah, I think UFC's hoping that he does bounce back. I mean, the guy is he's entertaining. It seems like after he fought Yanez, just things just kind of went downhill after that. What's up, Marcus?
What's up, Marcus? Forrest has Costa getting the TKO in the second at the latest, which is possible. Maybe we'll see some progression in his, in his cardio. But ultimately, if I'm betting on Costa, I'm hoping he gets it done in round 1. I really don't want him to see a round 2, but we'll see what happens there. All right, next up, we have a fight at a catch weight of 140 pounds between Julia Stoliarenko and Chelsea Chandler. Right now, Stoliarenko is minus 115 to come back on Chandler, minus 105. Basically a pick.
First off, Chelsea Chandler, that's just an unfortunate name. Like, it just sounds like she lives in the Midwest or a failed comedian. Julia coming off the quick finish over your girl, Jessica Rose Clark. This is a pretty low-level fight here. I'm going to have to side with the newcomer, as I've seen everything that Julia has to offer. And Chelsea is a little bit bigger. Neither are all that impressive. I like Chelsea Chandler by decision, but I will not be betting this. I will do something else.
Yeah, definitely would not place my money on either one of these two. But my drawback is that Chandler is going to play into the wheelhouse of Stoliarenko. She's going to want to gain the clinch. She's going to want to take this fight to the mat and, do some ground and pound, jiu-jitsu stuff. I know Chandler's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu purple belt. So most of her work comes out of the mat and comes against the fence. She's a big girl. She's 5'8". She normally fights at 145 pounds. So she's coming down to 140 for the first time in her career. Stoliarenko, not really impressive, but if it gets to the mat, she has a chance to win. She has a chance to get that armbar finish like she has in the past. Chandler has an opportunity to give her that. So, if I were to side with anybody, it'd probably be Stoliarenko, just because Chandler's just going to give her the fight that she wants. It's going to be a grappling affair. She's going to give her enough opportunity to possibly snatch, an armbar or possibly sweep her and get into a more dominant position. So I'm going with Stoliarenko, but I am not going to go place my money on this fight at all.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is she related to Michael Chandler? I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure she's not.
Is she related to Michael Jordan?
Yes. I don't think so. I'm not betting on this fight at all. I'm going with Chandler by decision.
Yeah,
kind of safe, considering maybe there's a lot of clinch work and she's too hard for Stoliarenko to get down. I don't know, but it's a crapshoot. It's a pick 'em for a reason. I'd rather just stay clear of this. Maybe make some popcorn, make some food, go to the bathroom, do something while this fight is going on.
Go buy your wife some flowers.
There you go. Go do anything else. All right, let's keep it moving. Next fight up is in the light heavyweight division between Maxime Grishin and Felipe Lins right now. Grishin minus 175 to come back on Lins plus 150. Who do you got?
From low level to low level. What is this? Yeah, Grishin, dude is insanely hard to watch. He looks stiff, he moves slow, and he never really looks for the finish. Linz also moves really slow, and he has pretty bad IQ. This is a dogger path for me, as neither of these guys are all that skilled. I would hope that Linz is able to get Grishin out of there, considering the slight reach advantage. I like Philip Linz by KO, but again, this is just too risky for my money.
Yeah, this is a fight where I feel like we're in a dogger pass situation. Grishin has lost fights that he should have won,
Yep.
Especially in his last fight against Dustin Jacoby. I believe he just did more. He looked better, and I feel like Linz could be similar. He's going to be throwing more output. He's going to be faster of the two. I feel like he's just going to be busier, kind of like he was in the Marcin Prachnio fight in the last round. He was just busier and he was able to get the win. I kind of like Linz to win via decision, which is plus 400, plus 350. I feel like it's going to be a slow, plodding fight where both these guys are just throwing shots back and forth, maybe a little bit of clinch work. And I don't expect Linz to gas out as much as he did in the Prachnio fight because there's going to be no grappling involved. I don't see Grishin looking for takedowns, so I'm expecting Linz and Grishin just to be able to go in there and just kickbox for 15 minutes, where Linz should be the one that's going to be throwing more, it's going to be busier, and I think he could edge out a close decision at plus 400. I would take a shot on that.
Yeah, even a 2.5 or fight goes to decision, those might be worth a stab as well, just in case you're kind of on the fence as to who you think will be more active. But I'm going to have to side with you, Garrett. I do think Linz is the right side here. I think Grishin, yeah, he hasn't impressed me at all. So neither has Linz really, but I just feel like he's more capable, or he should. Also he does look in better shape. I will say that. So.
Well, we'll keep it moving. All right.
Yeah.
Next fight up in the middleweight division between Brendan Allen and Krzysztof Joko. Right now, Joko is a minus 125 favorite to come back on Allen plus 105. Who do you got?
Yeah, I actually am kind of excited for this fight. This is an interesting one. It's a tough one to call. As Allen has had shades of greatness, but as soon as he begins to shine, it seems as if his overconfidence gets the best of him. Jocko is cool, he's calm and collected, and he's very, very precise. Well, he has been lately anyway. While Jocko, should have a decent showing, I'd be willing to bet that Allen exerts himself and appears more active in the eyes of the judges. This is going to be a close fight. This is going to be a close decision battle, and I'm going to go with Brandon Allen by decision.
What is that line? Let's see. Allen to win via decision plus 300. Not bad. I like that.
I like it too. And it's really just going to come down to him busting his ass. If he remains active, and doesn't allow Jocko to kind of fight at range, which he is capable of doing, I think we have. Yeah, I think we have a shot here with Allen. I also don't hate Jocko by split decision either. It's. I'll be honest with you guys. I had this wrote up multiple ways, and I settled on Allen just because I think that I think he will push the pace. I think he wants to get back on track. I think that this is the fight that does it for him.
I feel in this fight, this is one of those fights where whoever the underdog is probably the safer play because you're getting value on one of the sides. This fight's going to be relatively close all the way to the end. And I feel Allen has a higher ceiling. We're not going to see Jocko really contend for any type of belt anytime soon, ever, probably for the rest of his career. And I feel like his best days are behind him. I think Allen's just getting better. I know it wasn't his best showing against someone like Jacob Malkoun, but he doesn't have to worry about getting taken down by a really good wrestler. He's going against a guy in Jocko who's mainly there just to stay on the outside and outpoint you. And I feel like it's going to be hard to do that against someone like Allen, who uses kicks very well. He's actually very tall, lanky as a fighter. So I don't think Jocko's going to be able to just do that. He does that against guys that need to come forward, need to put the pace and put the pressure on you. And he's able to just kind of angle out and use his speed to his advantage. I don't think he's going to have a big speed advantage here against Allen. Allen uses length very well, and I expect him to land some takedowns. I know Jocko has good takedown defense, but I expect Allen to be able to mix it up and just, like you said, be more active and possibly win a decision plus 300 or possibly get a submission. Allen is probably one of the better submission threats that Jocko has faced in his career, and I think Allen gets the job done.
He beat Malkoun, didn't he?
He did, but it wasn't.
It wasn't like.
Yeah,
I mean that's a feather in the cap. I mean, he's not an easy win. I don't like his style, but Malkoun is a hard fight for a lot of guys. Like you said, it was not impressive, but a win is a win, Daddy.
Right. And I just feel like he has more paths to victory than Jocko, where Jocko literally is going to have to be on his bike. He's going to have to, use movement and try to outpoint Allen, because he's not going to be the one that's landing takedowns. He's not the one that's really, it's going to be getting a knockout. So his path to victory is, to me, limited, whereas Allen can get the sub, who could get the knockout, and he's going to be the one that I feel like should be the one that's busier in the fight as well.
Yeah, them being in a smaller octagon, I actually think is going to help Allen. It's going to force Jocko to engage and quit and fight at range,
right?
Less. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. There's so many different ideas as far as what could happen with this fight.
It's such a close fight. Anybody's fight. That's why I figure getting plus money on either side is kind of the way to go.
Play. Well, you could also get Allen at plus money and then double up with Jocko once the line, if Allen comes out hot and heavy after round one, you might get Jocko at plus money then, and therefore you get some sort of profit. But anyway,
way to do it. At the end of the day, the name of the game is profit, right?
Yeah, I've done this once or twice.
Maybe 3 times, but who knows? All right, let's keep it moving.
My wife.
All right, let's keep it moving. Next fight up is in the lightweight division between Joaquin Silva and Jesse Ronson. Right now, Silva minus 145 to come back on Ronson plus 125. What do you got?
Yeah, this one was like really boring to like investigate. I'm not gonna lie. This is a coin flip for me. Like Silva should win this fight. He's faced better competition. He's decent on the ground. Ronson is kind of a wild card, and both of these guys, are in the twilight of their careers. I'm leaning Silva, but I wouldn't exactly say that I'm confident. This is a weird fight. I like Silva by decision, but I'm not betting it.
Yeah, I kind of like the dog here and Jesse Ronson.
He has a good name.
Yeah, I know. Granted, I had Ronson against his last opponent. But then again, I always fade his last opponent. So, but that's neither here nor there. But in this case, you're talking about Silva, who hasn't fought since June of 2021. He's been finished in each of his last 2 fights. Hasn't had a win since 2018. He is now 33 years old, standing at 5'8" at 155 pounds. So I feel like he's got a size discrepancy here where Ronson is bigger and taller and longer. And Ronson, I think, is more capable. He's been fighting more frequently as well. And I think, and Silva's not going to take it to the mat, which is Ronson's glaring weakness is in this entire game that we saw in his last fight. His takedown defense is atrocious and always will be. Silva doesn't go for takedowns. I think he only attempted like 1 takedown in his entire UFC career. So, Silva's going to give Ronson the fight that he wants, and giving plus money on a fight that's essentially 50-50, I'll take the shot on the dog here.
I like that play. Yeah, kind of like the last, the Brendan Allen fight too. Might as well get the value.
Right.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't really care about this fight. It's just a weird matchmaking choice.
Well, you got a guy that's coming off a huge layoff and a guy that just lost. So
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So, sounds like a very weird
It should be the
matchmaking.
first. It should be the first fight. It's
Well, this fight card is littered with like a bunch of I don't give a flying F,
yeah. This would be one of those. But the next one, I would say that is. I'm a big fan of. Half of this next one.
But before we get there, we have Jason Ryan Kidwell talking about. Did y'all hear that Mark Zuckerberg bought out the whole card and menu for this weekend? Yes, we did hear that someone did buy out and rent out the entire Apex. So it's going to be interesting to see who that might be. I heard it was Mark Zuckerberg as well, but just rumors. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, what's weird about that is, okay, so if he is testing VR, then why would he have to pay to rent it out?
Yeah, I think it was just a private event, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's some Mackenzie Dern simp or someone that's big fans of what's her name, Yan or whatever, Yan. But yeah, I think it's a Mackenzie Dern simp.
I think so too.
That's my guess. That's my guess.
You know what? Maybe Mark Zuckerberg is a Mackenzie Dern simp. We don't know.
Well, I heard he's training BJJ now, so he's trying to get in the UFC. Pay his way in.
I think so. He might be the first billionaire to fight in the UFC.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Get Conor McGregor next year.
All right, let's keep it moving. Next fight up is in the women's strawweight division between Jessica Penne and Tabitha Ricci. Right now, Ricci minus 210. The comeback on Penne plus 180. Who do you got?
I have the cute one. I see this one going a lot like Penne's last fight against Ducote. Ricci is gonna stuff the takedowns and piece her up at range. I don't see Penne really having an answer. Her last fight, really showed her age, and I don't think we move on from that. Ricci and her beautiful ass win via decision.
Okay. I'm trying to figure this out here. Tabitha Ricci is a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and she's going to go out there and do what Emily Ducote did to Jessica Penne.
Yeah.
How do you figure that?
I just see it. The blueprint is out there.
She's averaging 3.95 takedowns per 15 minutes. Tabitha Ricci.
Yeah.
Her path to victory is taking this fight to the mat and just dominating it there.
But Penne, that's Penne's only path to victory is sub.
I don't think so. I think she wins at range for sure. Like on the feet, she's winning at range, like 110%, because she's got a 6-inch reach advantage, and that's just to reach with her arms. She throws a ton of kicks, so her kicks are definitely a lot longer than her arms. So she's got a pretty sizable advantage in reach and height. Her height, she's 4 inches taller with a reach of 6 inches. I think on the feet, she's going to be out of range immensely on the feet.
Wait, are you betting Penne?
There is a slight chance because of the fact that I feel there's more paths to victory for Penne than I do Tabitha Ricci, because Ricci is really predicated on her taking this fight to the mat, staying on top, controlling the fight, and just winning there, which she definitely can do because she's a high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner. But she's also going in the same wheelhouse as Penne, who's also BJJ black belt. But on the feet, I think she's going to have a massive, hard time being able to get in range against someone who's much taller than her, much longer than her. And I don't think Tabitha Ricci is a really good striker to begin with.
This fight just got that much more interesting
because you look at like Maria Oliveira, right? She outlanded Tabitha Ricci on the feet at distance by a pretty massive margin, 61-29. At range, Maria Oliveira outlanded her, 61-29. Tabitha Ricci is gonna have troubles being able to get in range. Poliana Viana also outlanded her at range, 29-21. So it's gonna be predicated on her getting takedowns, which she definitely can do, and she definitely could possibly just ride it out, in guard and just being heavy on top, doing some ground and pound and top control and all of that. But I feel like Penning is gonna have. I feel like this is gonna be a much closer fight than the odds suggest, and I feel it's gonna play out much like the Lupi Godinez fight.
Well, I played Penne via versus the Cody, and
I was huge on Dakota in that fight. Like
I'm aware.
I was very adamant on Dakota, but then again, I was a big Dakota believer before coming into the UFC, so that's kind of why.
Yeah, I bet that you would probably rent out the UFC venue if Dakota was headlining.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I would place my money on her, and whatever her next fight is, I will be betting on Emily Dakota. Emily Dakota, you're a real one.
Well, I will test my VR with Tabitha Ritchie any day of the week, and I will be happy when she wins via decision this weekend, because there is no way in hell that I'm putting money on Jessica Penne's old ass.
I don't know, man. I mean, granted, on paper, I think Ricci should win because she is the younger of the two. She's the fresher of the two.
Yes, she is.
She's got great jiu-jitsu skills. I just think this is going to be very reminiscent of the Lupi Godinez fight, where I think Lupi is a lot better than Tabitha Ricci in every facet. Other than jiu-jitsu, Lupi is way better at wrestling. She's way better at striking. And Jessica Penne was able to keep that a lot closer than we thought it would have been. Yeah. And I feel like she's going to do the same here. I feel like she's going to cover her plus 180, plus 185 price tag, because she's not going to get in a firefight against a striker like she did at Dakota. She's going against a grappler that's going to be basically right in her wheelhouse. She's going to be the better striker of the two, and then she's going to be able to try to out-grapple a girl that's much smaller than her. So we'll see how it goes.
We will see.
Forrest is saying, do we get to say "I told you so" after the fight? No, because you're talking about saying "I told you so" on a minus 210 favorite. If this was like a pick 'em fight, you could say "I told you so" all day of the week. But I'm talking about taking a shot on a dog that's plus 180, all the way possibly up to plus 200. So no, I don't want to hear "I told you so" betting on a heavy favorite there, Forrest Daniels. Okay.
We'll see. I am now excited for this fight. I can sleep through Silva and Ronson, and then I can wake up for this one.
Yeah, we'll wake up for Jessica Penne. I mean, it's really hard for me to say that I'm siding with Jessica Penne in a fight, but here we are in 2022 siding with Jessica Penne in a fight. So, yikes. All right. Our featured bout in the prelims is a fight in the heavyweight division between Alexei Oleinik and Ilir Latifi. Right now, the line is set at minus 175 for Latifi, and they come back on Oleinik plus 150. Who do you got?
Death, taxes. Alexei Oleinik wins by sub. As soon as this hits the mat, that's it. While Latifi does have heavy hands, he isn't as big as a threat as Dawkins and or Lewis. Also, Latifi does welcome the clinch. I think Oleinik gets one more and rides off into his foreign sunset. You heard it here first, or second, or maybe even third. Alexei Oleinik via submission.
Ilir Latifi by boring ass decision. He's going to lay in his guard like he did against Derek Lewis and just win the fight just by laying there on top of him. Because if we remember, no neck Derek Lewis could not get subbed by Alexei Oleinik. Who's the next guy with no neck? Ilir Latifi. He's got absolutely no neck whatsoever.
Yeah, he just shoulders. Head,
shoulders, knees, and toes. That's it.
Yeah, he has no neck. But I mean, Oleinik almost subbed Lewis in round one.
He almost got it, but the reason why he couldn't get it is because the man had no neck, and now you have Latifi who has less of a neck than Derek Lewis. I mean, it's literally going to be. I feel like it's going to be impossible for him to go in there and scarful choke this man to oblivion. So I'm expecting, it's going to be extremely boring. I think the fight goes over 2.5 rounds, which is at plus 140. I feel like it goes over 1.5 rounds at minus 130. If you get over 1.5 rounds, I think that's a very safe bet. I think both these guys are just going to stand there, look at each other, maybe get some grappling on, but eventually nothing's going to happen. So, the fight goes to decision is at plus 175, plus 165. Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't want to go and really bet on this fight, but if I'm going anywhere, I think I would play a little bit on Latifi wins via decision, or my safer bet would be the over 1.5 rounds. I feel like this is going over 1.5 rounds. Latifi's hard to put away, and Latifi doesn't put anyone away. So it's I feel like that's pretty damn safe at this point.
Jason, so you're mad about Latifi and Oleinik not coming to Columbus. I have a one-up for you. I am the ultimate Oleinik fan, and I saw him get decapitated by Walt Harris, and that was difficult to watch as a fan. And that's another good point Forrest Daniels brings up. What about limbs?
But we know his go-to submissions are scarf-roll choke and the I forgot the other choke that he does.
He might do the
I know it. Like, I know it off the top of my tongue, and I forget. He does it all the time. It's literally the Alexa Oleinik choke, really. But the hell is it? I can't get it. Oh, the Ezekiel choke. See?
Yeah, which
are both. Those are both chokes. They're dealing with the no neck that Latifi has. The last time he got anything that's other than a choke was an armbar back in 2020 against Maurice Green, and before that, nope.
Yeah, Latifi is definitely better than Maurice Green, but
I mean, we're talking about all of his submissions are arm triangle, neck crank, Ezekiel choke, scarfold choke. They're all dealing with choking the opponent. None of it is about going for arm bars or any type of chimuras or anything like that. No, it's all about choking his opponents. He's got an 83-inch reach, so he uses those monkey-like arms and able to just strangle you. That's pretty much what he does, honestly. He just uses his gigantic reach and his huge hands as monkey arms and just wraps you around you and just chokes a living life out of you.
All right, so you got Latifi, I got Oleinik. Sorry to hear it.
Okay, this is when the fight card starts really picking up. The main card actually is pretty damn good. We got a pretty good main card. Maybe the prelims really do deliver. We might get a ton of finishes. We really don't know. It's going to be up in arms, up in the air right now. So let's keep it moving. Our first fight up in the main card is a fight at 155 pounds between Mike Davis and Slavaklaus Vyacheslav Borishev. Right now, the line is set at minus 175 for Mike Davis. Come back on Slavaklaus plus 150. Who do you got?
Borishev, he looked like absolute dog shit in his last fight, which explains the line. Considering the considering that the blueprint is out there, it's not hard to side with Davis here. I think he's just as strong and athletic as DeCasey, and if Davis beats Mason Jones, there's no way he beats Slavaklaus. There's no way he loses to Slavaklaus. Also, shout out to my boy Mike Davis liking my comments. What's up? Hopefully he's watching. But Mike Davis is going to win this via decision. I think it's going to look a lot like the DeCasey fight.
My only drawback is I do think Mike Davis is the better all around fighter. I mean, we've seen he land takedowns in his last 2 fights. He's attempted 11 takedowns in his last 2 fights, which is successful for 45% of his takedowns, which is really good. But then we've also seen him kind of tire out as fights go on, especially if guys are still hanging in there. Mason Jones, he was starting to gas in that fight, and you can't gas against somebody like Slava. He's a really good striker. I honestly think he's the better striker of the two because he is a high level kickboxer. He's a kickboxing champion in his own right. But where I do think Mike Davis has the advantage is obviously in his grappling and obviously in his power. I'm just hoping he doesn't go in there and use too much of his energy having to grapple in this fight because he was going against a guy, Youssef Medic, where, I feel like he could have beaten him just strictly on the feet. I feel like Mike Davis probably could have outstruck Medic on the feet. I don't think Mike Davis can outstrike Slava on the feet because I think Slava brings a different dynamic on the feet. He's not a guy that's going to stand there and just trade with you and throw down. Slava uses a lot of different techniques that it's really hard for someone to game plan in less than a week. So I feel like Mike is now going to have to use his energy on taking Slava down and use his grappling, use his BJJ, which he's been working on from what I've seen, over at Fusion XL with Adolfo Vieira, and who's a world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner, and, Philip Rowe, who's also a BJJ black belt. So it's really going to come down to his cardio. If his cardio holds up, Mike Davis wins without a doubt. But if he tends to slow down, kind of like he did in his last fight against Mason Jones, he could be in a world of trouble in rounds 2 and 3 if Slava's able to kind of just work his way back up to the feet. And that's kind of why I feel like the line is closer than what it should be. If this was like a fight where it wasn't a short notice, nature, I think Mike Davis probably would be a heavier favorite. But now he's going against a guy that's a lot different dynamic in striking than Youssef Medic. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a different, task at hand. But I have Mike Davis ultimately winning this fight. I don't know if I would really want to bet it at this price, but I have him win this fight. I think he gets it done. I want to see Mike Davis keep growing from here. I think it would be a good win, a good way to get him back on track because he hasn't fought in a while. He hasn't got a win in a while, but he's looked good as of late, and I'm hoping he keeps it going here. So I have Mike Davis getting the job done and really start the show because this main card, like I said before, is going to be ridiculous. All right. Let's keep it moving. Our next fight up is a catchweight fight at 140 pounds between John Castaneda and Daniel Santos. Right now, Castaneda minus 190 favorite. The comeback on Santos plus 160. Who do you got?
I think, and this is kind of a hot take, I think Daniel Santos is getting overlooked here. While Sexy Mexi is good and entertaining, Santos did fight Julio Arce to a decision. I mean, he lost, but just because he doesn't have a sexy nickname, doesn't mean that he should be overlooked or discredited. I feel like this is a dogger pass. As John Castaneda shouldn't be minus 220 against most of the roster. I'm going to take Santos inside the distance.
Oh, man. I mean, granted, you are right. I don't believe Castaneda should be a minus 190 favorite in this spot. Ultimately, I do think he gets the job done. I just wasn't impressed with Santos at all. Granted, I know he went to a decision against Julio Arce, but Arce is not like a guy that's going out there and finishing everybody.
Don't you say that.
Santos looked flat-footed. He gassed heavily in that fight as well, throwing a ton of spinning attacks that didn't land. And I feel like if he does the same in this fight, he's gonna gas again. But the thing is with Castaneda, he's more well-rounded than Arce. He's got 7 wins by knockout, but also 7 wins via decision. He went in there and he subbed Miles Johns, who is he's a really good wrestler and jiu-jitsu guy himself. He knocked him down, was able to submit him. Granted, I know it's Eddie Wineland, but he was able to knock out Eddie Wineland, and his only loss in the last few years was against Nathaniel Wood, who would probably absolutely destroy Daniel Santos. So, but on the feet, I think it's close. But I feel like if Castaneda could just kind of mix it up, I think he gets the job done. I feel like he's more powerful striker. I think he's more polished. He's definitely way more experienced at 19-5 compared to Daniel Santos, 9-2. I feel like this is going to be another good win for Castaneda, and he'll keep it moving. He'll be 3-0 in his last 3 fights, and kind of progress from there. All right, let's keep moving. Next fight up is in the men's featherweight division between Sadiq Yusuf and Don Sheinus. Right now, the line is set at -900 for Yusuf to come back on Sheinus, plus 625. What do you got?
Yeah, this is a weird one. I would love to take a stab on Sheinus, but Youssef is bigger and much more seasoned in comparison to the newcomer. Youssef should run through this guy, which is a shame because Sheinus looks to be a fairly decent fighter. I actually assume this one probably goes all 15 minutes though, which in the end that's a moral victory for Don Sheinus, who is, I'm assuming. I didn't really care to investigate. I'm assuming he's taking this fight on short notice. So I'm going to take Youssef by decision. I'm not really sold on Youssef like a lot of other people are. This line it makes sense, but also it's -900. Come on, don't put your money on that just in case something weird happens. He gives up in fights like that. He loses fights he should win. He's kind of one dimensional. Like I don't know. Give him a real fight, and then I'll bet against him.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna fade Youssef in the Giga Chikadze fight. Unfortunately, we don't get that fight because I believe Chikadze had some type of injury, so he had to pull out. So now Don Sheinus is taking this fight on about a 2 weeks notice because of that. Don Sheinus, Cage Titans featherweight champion, also FAC lightweight champion. So he's a guy that's fought at 155 and 145. He's pretty good, well built, pretty much well versed. I think 10 of his 12 wins have come inside the distance, 8 by knockout, 2 by submission. He mixes it up well, but I feel like this is a pretty massive step up in competition from regional fighters to Sadiq Yusuf, who's basically a fringe top. Yeah, I believe he's top 15 in the UFC. What I don't like is, Yusuf didn't look great in his last fight against Bruce Leroy, but ultimately he got the win there, and I believe he will get the win here. I just don't expect him to look like a -900 favorite. I don't expect him to get the finish either. I do like the decision prop, which is around +150 to +175. I would probably throw a little bit on that because that's pretty much the only way. It's either that or by knockout. Those are only 2 ways. Maybe do a double chance of KO decision. Maybe we'll bring it down to -200, -250. I really don't know the double prop on that, but Sadiq should get the job done. And hopefully they can rebook the Sadiq Yusuf and Giga Chikadze fight later down the road.
I wouldn't imagine he gets a sub. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that really would be something considering, he is a striker by nature, but we will see. And yes, for Daniels, there will be no fading Sadiq Yusuf in this time. You are correct. No, not against Sheinus here. It's not going to happen.
Sheinus.
Don Sheinus. Well, what a name. What a name.
Yeah.
All right. Up next in our feature bout on the main card, we have a fight at 135 pounds between Hani Barcelos and Trevin Jones. Right now, Barcelos is a -230 to -250 favorite to come back on Trevin Jones +195. Who do you got?
Barcelos, he's kind of on a weird stint at the moment. The guy is next level, but he's having a hard time. A lot like Costa. I think he bounces back here. Jones isn't really all that impressive. Maybe he is. I'm just not really sold on him. And honestly, I think he's gotten kind of lucky thus far as his UFC career. Barcelos is fast, and that will be a huge factor here as Jones leaves his chin up, and it is very hittable. I'm not sure if we see a finish, but Barcelos should win easily. I might take a stab at the decision and just hope Jones can last.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I think Harney Barcelos is definitely levels above Trevin Jones at this point. Trevin Jones, in his couple of fights, he's basically he should be 2-2, but one of his fights got reversed because of, I think it was, he got flagged for Reed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right.
I believe so. But he was almost finished in that fight, came back, won. He was losing the Mario Batista fight, came back, won. And then unfortunately his last two fights he couldn't come back and win those two fights. And I don't expect him to be able to come back again against Harney Barcelos, who I think is the better striker of the two. I know. Sorry, I'm yeah. Anyways, Harney Barcelos. It's very hard. It's very hard to say that right now. But Barcelos, I do think, is the better striker of the two. I do think he's a better grappler, even though Jones seems to be well versed on the mat. But Barcelos, this is the bounce back spot for him. I know he's 35 years old, and he's showing a little bit of shot born, especially in that Victor Henry fight. Who Victor Henry came in on short notice, was able to outwork him. I don't think Jones is going to be able to outwork Barcelos in this fight. And I do think Barcelos, like you said, bounces back and he just looks better than ever. I honestly think he's going to look the best he's ever looked, bouncing back against someone like Trevin Jones. Like I said, gets hit a lot and he's there to be hit. And I don't expect him to really come back in this fight like he has in the past. All right, let's keep it moving. Our next fight up in our co-main event, we have a fight between Rude Boy Randy Brown and Francisco Trinaldo. Right now, Randy Brown's line is minus 315. The comeback with Trinaldo plus 260. Who do you got?
I'm not going to fault anyone for taking that plus money on Trinaldo. He's looked really, really good lately. Especially, what was it? The fight in Houston, man. That was an amazing fight. He murked that dude, bro. And that was like, he was a huge underdog too. I think though that Randy Brown has the tools to finally close the casket. I figure they both come out hot and heavy and Brown gets the best of the early exchanges. From there, Brown pieces him up at range like he does. And when Trinaldo pushes forward like we know he will, Brown catches him on. Brown will probably be backing up. And I'm assuming he catches him while he's on his back foot. And that's that. Randy Brown KO. It's going to look beautiful. Trinaldo is old as shit. And a lot of these fights, he's wearing his damage well, but I think it's going to catch up this time.
Do you know Randy Brown will be the first guy since Lurie Alcantara back in 2010 to finish Trinaldo by strikes if he does so?
That doesn't surprise me, but I think Randy Brown is that guy. Like, I feel like, don't get me wrong, he has a good ground game too, but I just feel like with the small octagon.
And the only person to submit, well, is it one person? Two. No. Hold on. Two people submitted Trinaldo in his time. Only two.
That's wild. And that's why I would understand the stab, but I feel he like
is 1-5 in his last 6 fights. 5-1 in his last 6 fights. That's crazy.
Yeah, and every time he's the underdog, or I would say
in most cases, yeah. But I do like Randy Brown in this spot. Obviously, because he's got a massive height and reach advantage, and it's going to be extremely hard for Trinaldo to really land anything worthwhile. And I expect Randy Brown to do exactly what he did against Chaos Williams. It's going to be very reminiscent of that fight. You have Trinaldo is going to be winging heavy hooks coming forward, trying to land heavy shots, exactly like Chaos Williams did. And Randy Brown's just going to stay on the outside, be faster, uses his jab, use his kick, stay at range, and just pinpoint accuracy for 15 minutes and get the job done. I have him winning by decision because, in theory, the only way Brown can lose this fight is if he gives Trinaldo the fight that he wants, which is pretty much fighting in the phone booth and just kind of throwing hands and throwing caution to the wind and seeing whose chin is better. If Randy Brown does that, Trinaldo probably is going to dead him at some point. But I feel like Randy Brown's smarter than that, does the right thing, just stay on his bike and absolutely just pick him apart. He should have absolutely no problem picking him apart at range for the entirety of this fight. So I have Brown winning a decision, which is around plus 120 up to plus 140. I think that's pretty good value there.
Yeah, especially kind of what you brought to my attention about how many times he's been finished, how he's been finished, those types of things. I just feel like in a smaller octagon, it's
definitely possible.
Well, I just feel like those variables being considered, there's more of a chance. This would be the one that he does get finished in.
But my thing is, the only person that he's finished since 2019 is Brian Barberena.
Yeah,
via strikes. That's it.
That's a good point.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think that he didn't finish Worley Alves by strikes. He didn't finish Alex Oliveira. He didn't finish Jared Gooden. He didn't finish Chaos Williams.
Yeah, I mean, how many of those were?
He didn't even finish Mickey Gall.
I mean, that
yeah. I mean, granted, that was very early in Randy Brown's career. Randy Brown's has gotten light years better since that encounter with Mickey Gall and Brian Barberena even. I feel like we've seen the best of him in his last fight against Chaos Williams. I thought he looked fantastic. His just everything about him, he just looked a lot better. And I expect him to be even better in this fight. I just personally don't see him finishing Trinaldo because I feel like Trinaldo's faced more powerful strikers than Randy Brown. And I feel like he's still, even at his old age of 44, 45, he's still got a chin on him at least.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. We are finally up to our main event in the women's strawweight division between Mackenzie Dern and Xiaonan Honey Barcelos. All right, in this fight, Dern is a minus 230 favorite to come back on Yan plus 195. Who do you got?
This is 5 rounds.
Unfortunately.
Death taxes. Dern wins by sub. As soon as it hits the mat, that's it. I'll take Dern at even money against anyone that trains at Team Alpha Male. Hashtag fade favor. Hashtag Mackenzie Dern wins via sub.
What's the line Dern by sub?
It's plus 100, or it was.
What is it now? Dern by sub in round 1 is plus 265.
Yeah, but I don't know if she'll get it in the first round. She's not really good at getting the takedown. It's going to have to be. I mean, she's gotten better, but
it's minus 110 right now, which is
yeah. I would even take that. She has 25 minutes to find it.
She almost did it against Marina Rodriguez. If she can almost do it against Marina Rodriguez, I feel like she could finish the deal against Yan, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think Marina's got better takedown defense than Yan does. We've seen that in the Carlos Esparza fight, but granted, Carlos Esparza is a very good wrestler, and we know Dern doesn't have the best offensive wrestling. I do think Dern is definitely a lot more competent than she has been in the past on the feet, and I feel like she's going to take a limb down to the mat at some point. At some point, this fight has to hit the mat. I feel like Dern should be able to take over from there. Even Dern wins inside the distance at minus 120. I would even take a stab at it because there's not much of a difference between the sub and submission, and we know that Dern could possibly get a TKO ground and pound just from back control, flatten her out, throwing some heavy shots until she eventually just has to, just get finished from there. I just think, like Forrest Daniels saying, no, she has only got one way of winning. That's not true. I mean, she takes a fight to the match to get it there. But the thing is, she's got some power on the feet too. She's gotten a lot better.
And she's won by decision before.
Right. So I feel like there's more paths to victory for Dern in retrospect, because if you look at Jan, she literally has to be on her bike for 25 minutes. And mind you, who's gone 25 minutes before? Dern or Jan? Dern has. Dern has gone 25 minutes before. Jan has never gone 25 minutes before. So she's got to go 25 minutes striking and defending grappling, defending submission attempts, defending a ton. I feel like eventually she's gonna wear down. Dern takes over and gets the win. And then on top of it, if you really look at it, does the UFC really want Jan to win this fight? No. And also, she's coming off a loss and she's getting a main event spot. Why? To make Mackenzie Dern look good, not for her to win. Yeah, I mean, they're not putting her there for Jan to look good. They're not putting Jan there to push her. No, because they already got Zhang as the potential champion. Why do they need another Chinese fighter to really push? They're not looking to push her. They're giving a sacrificial lamb to Dern to look good, to get better, to rise her stock, to make people think that she's a title contender, which she's really not. And then, maybe Dern could be pushed to a title shot just for the ratings until she faces Zhang and then absolutely gets obliterated on the feet. So we will see if that will.
Well, they probably just assume that us American audiences don't know the difference between Yan and Zhang, and they're just like, oh, just throw her up there and they'll figure it out. But yeah, like Forrest Daniels, I also hate Mackenzie Dern's fake accent. I know for a fact that it's fake. I have a friend that trains with or used to train with her dad. So yeah, and confirmed fake. But the play of the show is Mackenzie Dern by sub, parlayed with Alexia Oleinik by sub. Do it. Don't ask questions. Call your boy and let me know that you cash.
Might as well just, like I said, just do inside the distance. It's only minus 120, considering that sub is minus 110. Just better inside the distance then.
Dude, the other day, what was it? I know that I might have told you this, but last week, the play, there was a play that inside the distance was better odds than by KO. And I was like, that's weird. So I was like, well, which one do you think I'm going to take? I'm going to take inside the distance because, absolutely. I mean, it pays out more. But I lost, so it didn't work anyway.
Well, thanks for the little tidbit.
Yeah, hey.
Considering it lost.
Yeah, it's like someone telling you about a dream. It's like, it didn't even happen, but let me tell you a story about some shit that I thought of. Like, I hate that. Like, I hate when people are like, hey, I had this crazy dream last night. Let me waste 20 minutes of your fucking day. You're like, what the? Like, it didn't happen, man. Like
it's a bomb-ass dream, though.
Yeah, but I don't care. Like, it didn't happen. It's literally you're wasting my time, your time. Anyway, yeah.
All right, guys. That's what we have for this week's breakdown. UFC Vegas 61 goes down Saturday night. Starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But before we go, I need you guys to go to PrizePicks.com. Sign up there. Use promo code PropsLive for 100% deposit up to $100. Please go over there and deposit. Win some money. Over-unders. Easy cash. If you need some lineup advice, hit my inbox. I'll be glad to help you out as much as I possibly can. And yes, head over to some Howler Head and get some Howler Head. Howler Head. Just like Harney Barcelos. My H's are not going well tonight, guys. Just letting you know. But yeah.
Hey, do you have time to listen to me about a dream? I had a dream that Dern won by sub, Oleinik won by sub, and then Youssef won by sub as well. So that might be the play of the weekend.
No, but Forrest Daniels likes Youssef by decision. I don't know.
Well, he doesn't have a show or a microphone. So anyway, that's all we got, guys.
That's all we got. But Guys, please head over to the Props HQ Network on YouTube and also Playmaker on all social platforms. Give them a like, subscribe, do it all. Give them a follow, and we will be back probably in 2 weeks because we are off next week as well. So we'll be back in 2 weeks breaking down some more fights, putting some more money into your pockets. We appreciate you all being here and hanging out with us, breaking down some fights, putting money in your pockets, and we'll see you next time.
More time for porn.
There you go, porn.